Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up?
Really like that.
You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guide Network on a fabulous Thursday afternoon here in the studio during the recording of this one. Jonathan, I've been in and out of the studio all across the country, or all across the state, soon to be all across the country. We got some out West Coast trips planned soon, but nonetheless, been traveling all across the state, been in and out of shows. But I was here on Tuesday, and I told you guys, you asked me for some of my notes from the trail, and I told you, look, Xavier Griffin speaking that good word out here talking about, I am locked up in. I ain't going nowhere. I am a USC Trojan. I hear talking that good word in the interviews, giving everybody the good quotes. I'm a Trojan, 2026 class, defensive coaching staff. We love the Trojans, baby. And I told you on air Tuesday, I was like, you know, he can say all that, and that's great. I love that he is out here talking that talk. But it was sharks in the water at that practice when I was out there at Gainesville High School. 6:30 in the morning, looked like a daggum coaches clinic. There was like 75 coaches out there at that football practice, about half and half. Half of them there to watch 2027 quarterback Kareem Hughley. The other half there to watch Xavier Griffin. And I let you know, like, he's talking this talk. USC thinks they might have him locked in, but the rest of the world, particularly down here in the Southeast, They think that this one's up for grabs, and here we are. It's Thursday. Late last night, Xavier Griffin opens up his recruitment, decommits from USC, Jonathan.
Yeah, and we've kind of talked about Lincoln Riley holding on to this 2026 class because it is a really good class. I mean, they already have 27 commits. That's with the subtraction of Griffin. So, but this was also something that we noted of, hey, a lot of these are Cali kids, likely that will stick with this, but these other kids, Xavier Griffin being one of them, might not make it to the end, and it didn't. And
look,
that's okay.
I think he's learned his lesson, or if this one don't teach him the lesson, it oughta. All right, now he wasn't around for the Michael Williams, Kristen Miller sweepstakes. He wasn't there. That was a Clay Helton debacle that they ended up folding towards the end of. I got some great stories on that one, Jonathan, if you ever want to ask me off camera on what went down there. But there was some, particularly last class, had some guys that were committed to him that ended up, flipping late towards the end of the cycle. And I think people kind of laugh at him, ha him. I don't know what it is. Why is that about Lincoln Riley, Jonathan? Why does everyone enjoy relishing in his pain?
I think it's because
he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he does.
To me.
And I don't think it has anything to do with Lincoln Riley, the person, but I think that when a coach is at a program like Oklahoma and is having a lot of success, and then he takes this move to USC and is like, people view that as he thinks USC is better and can be bigger and he can take them there. And so when it feels like he's being proved wrong, it's a whole ha we got you moment.
To me, the thing with Lincoln is that people anointed him too young as like the next up and coming coach, and he kind of born on third base, right? Like this is a young I think he was 37 when he got the head coaching job at Oklahoma, had been handed it, from Bob Stoops, built it up for decades, really, really well in a pre-NIL era. Lincoln takes over, wins 11, 12 games, plays in a college football playoff, and then USC's open, baby. Let's go. And now he's kind of not falling on his face, but falling to an 8-4, falling to a 7-5, falling to a didn't do enough with the Heisman Trophy winner. And now everybody almost, like I said, relishes in Lincoln Riley's pain, and I feel like they're doing that here today. Now, here to talk about Xavier Griffin most and foremost, let's talk about where the recruitment's going to ultimately go. 3 names immediately off rip: Texas, Alabama, Georgia. Okay, and I think Georgia's trailing in the 3 of those. And obviously we know Texas very, very well equipped in the financial departments here. It's funny, but like certain schools get labeled these NIL schools because certain schools are spending more money. That's the reality of this situation here. Jonathan, what are your thoughts on where this thing heads next, honestly?
I mean, when you start talking about there's sharks in the water at practice, and then the decommitment happens, and then immediately after that it's, he's going to be taking visits to Alabama, Florida, Texas, and Ohio State. Yeah, that pretty much sums up what it's going to be. I mean, this is going to be a heavy hitter recruiting process, probably one that goes, I don't know what the timeline of this is or anything like that, but opening up your recruitment right now as official visits are lining up and the 2026 class is really heating up, Really interesting.
So, like, the middling 75, 90% of players, not middling, but that upper tier of Power 5 football players, every kid you talk to right now, like a Jordan Smith, that's an upper tier, high-ranking 4-star, all the way down to the high-ranking 3-stars that have committable offers, right? Trying to rush, get in right now, mid-June, late July, right? They're trying to, what I would call, reserve a spot. They're trying to get in and make sure their spot is held. Ain't nobody worried about everybody holding a spot for Xavier Griffin. You know what I mean? This isn't a football player that's got to feel rushed to occupy a spot or, get his guaranteed area. This is a guy that you hold the spot for no matter what. You hold the money for no matter what. Whatever's available to him, you make it happen. Now, however, I do think there's going to be like a stare-off between him and Tyler Atkinson.
Yeah.
Like, you both can't go to Ohio State. You both can't go to Texas. You damn sure both can't go to Georgia. One of you better figure out where you're going first.
And that's what my next question was going to be is I feel like Texas and Alabama probably have a bit of an advantage of this because Georgia and Ohio State are so invested in Tyler Atkinson and have been so invested. And, like, that's our guy, especially knowing that Xavier Griffin plans to go to USC. Now it opens back up. That feels like an opportunity for Alabama and Texas to really sweeten this up for them.
I do think, Jonathan, though, that, like, all of these teams that are in the mix for Xavier Griffin, the decommitment from USC was a formality. Like, it was just a thing. Like, they weren't recruiting that guy any different today that they were yesterday. They assumed. I told you Tuesday. Every SEC coach that I spoke to was like, yeah, that kid ain't going to USC. And here we are today. He ain't going to USC.
Yeah.
I just, look, I don't think it says anything to do about the Trojans. I think it has everything to do about East Coast, West Coast. When you recruit kids down here, I don't see Dan coming down here very often. He goes to Florida every once in a while, but he ain't living in Georgia. I mean, he lost the Juan Gaston recruitment, lost the Jared Curtis recruitment. I know that's Tennessee. But that, like, he ain't coming down here. He'll recruit Maryland. I think it's just hard to get these kids to go that far from home and consist because it's not just one trip. It's like, oh, we got a week off, or oh, we got a bye week. Oh, my whole team's going home. I can't go home. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And flying parents out for home games. Let's take a look at the actual film here, Jonathan. Let's shut up and grind the tape just a little bit and show why everybody's in on this kid. I want to give you a little rundown on Xavier Griffin. All right, so Josh Niblett, the head coach at Gainesville, took that job, 2 or 3 years ago, Jonathan?
3 years ago.
3 years ago, and Xavier Griffin, first spring practice, I went up there to Josh Niblett. Xavier Griffin's a freshman, wearing 19, okay, and he's already like 6'2 and a half and running like a deer, and everybody's like, this is going to be the next great one, but there was no idea what he was going to play. No idea. Is he going to be an edge rusher? Is he going to be an off-ball linebacker? Here is the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if you're a young player listening to this today, all right, if you're a parent with a young athlete, if you are a tweener, pick the position you're too big to play, not the position you'll never be big enough to play. Do we all understand that? I don't think this kid was ever going to be a defensive end. I don't think he was ever going to look like Damon Wilson, okay? But he's an inch bigger than most inside linebackers. That's a whole hell of a lot better than being an inch shorter than every other defensive end. Do we all understand that? If you're a tweener, go big. Don't go little and try to outplay your size. All right, take what God gave you and make yourself the best available athlete elsewhere. Tyler Atkinson did this, right? Tyler Atkinson was a 5-star edge rusher as a true freshman. And guess what? Knew he was only going to be 6'2 and a half. So guess what? We're going to play off-ball linebacker. This kid right here, 6'3 and a quarter, but knew he was never going to be 6'5", 250. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to play off-ball linebacker, and we're going to be great at it. We're going to be a 5-star at it as well. And we're going to have a longevity to our career that we're not going to have to outplay or to be too small to play a position. Now, that said about the physical frame, this kid pursues the football. All right, he is a really, really fast athlete. At 6'3", at 220 pounds, he pursues the ball really, really well. I would venture to say most of this tape we're going to watch is pursuit plays. This dude's going to be running the football down, defying angles as he does so. I think it's young tape because he's still wearing 19, Jonathan. Do we have junior tape available?
This looked like the most recent tape.
Okay, there's a little. This is him against Houston or Schley County right here, I think, or Houston, one or the other. All right, that was a good pass rush move right there. Here he is wearing 8. This is an all-encompassing film. This is how you know the scouting director been watching this guy for a long time. I told you he's wearing 19 as a freshman, early enrollee. Junior, senior year, he's been wearing 8. So if we see him in 8, that's his junior year. If we see him in 19, that's his sophomore year, okay? Look how much bigger he got. Holy shit. All right, that's the difference. Look, the difference in these two athletes between sophomore year and junior year. This is him as a sophomore playing down on the line of scrimmage. Good twitch right there, running after the football. Watch us swell up like a balloon right here in this next clip, and just in terms of size and closing speed right here. This is his junior year. Whew.
Jeez.
Yeah, big dude. Here he is back in 19. Okay. Going to get a good dip and rip on that kid right there at left tackle. That's against Woodward Academy, it looks like. It's a decent high school football, really good high school football team, I should say. See how much bigger we are, Jonathan?
Mm-hmm.
We are a much bigger athlete as a junior than we were as a sophomore, and we're still an off-ball linebacker. Okay, we're going to hunt the football here, I would imagine. Yeah. No, oh, no.
No
We're going to run this
way.
down. We're going to run this down. All right.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I was at this game. I'm trying to figure out where I was. That was a hell of a pursuit play right there, Jonathan. Long strider, though. Honestly, I could see this kid growing into more of like an edge rusher in college than an off-ball linebacker. You know, I don't know how much thicker he's going to get. If you look at photos of him, he's not very broad. He's really long, though. That makes sense. Doesn't have super broad shoulders, but does have super long arms.
Jeez.
Yeah. A supreme athlete. All right, if I had one, here's the difference between, and I know commenters are already going to hit on it. What's the difference? Who do you got? Tyler Atkinson or this guy? I have Tyler Atkinson, all right? Because just a complete flawless prospect. Completely flawless. The one flaw I think this guy may or may not have, I don't think he strikes and sheds blocks, Jonathan. I don't think we play with the screws of our helmet very often. All right, I think we play with God-given traits and athleticism right now, and that's great. We win at a really, really high rate. We're a 5-star doing that. I think if there's one thing, we got to learn how to play with our helmet, all right, because we do play a linebacker, all right? He's a great pursuit player. He does a lot of this stuff, running plays down. I want to see this guy strike and, you know, be a motherfucker. You know what I mean? You've watched Tyler Atkinson up close and personal. You can feel the violence from that human being from 5 feet away when the whistles are blowing, don't you?
Yeah.
And then he takes the helmet off and he smiles. How you doing, sir? Right? He's a perfect kid in between, or outside of the whistles. But in between the whistles, you can feel it.
And worth noting, too, saw him at an OTA or off-season event.
Just an
not a
everyday
game.
Practice. Yeah, just an everyday practice. This how I'm out here doing my shit. Same caliber professional. Don't know if he's got that, hey, coach, he might be a lunatic. You know?
Yeah.
I want all 11 dudes, except for maybe the Mike linebacker, the guy who's wearing the green dot, and maybe a deep guy in the back end of safety. I want all of them for the eval to be, ooh, hey, he might lose it today. Or as the kids say, he might crash out. I don't think this kid's ever crashed out, all right? But that's all right. We need one. Maybe he wears the green dot, right? I don't know where he's going to end up, but he's going to be a super, super great football player wherever he's at. Appreciate you guys for being here. Forgot to tell you the rules, which I don't know why I would do it this late. All right, but if you learned anything about football today, you got to subscribe. If you had any fun today, you got to subscribe. What's the other ones? If you have any fun.
Yeah, if you had any fun.
Today? I had fun today.
I had a blast today.
So much fun that I forgot the rules. Appreciate you guys for being here. Hit that thumbs up. Love you. Bye.